Hi everyone and welcome to Comedy Pit Stop Does Comedy Week. So this week we're going to be posting videos on YouTube and posting blogs every day. So make sure you stay tuned. Today's one is going to be an interview I conducted with one of the comedians I will be using for my event on the 26th and 27th of October. His name's Tony Vino. I hope you enjoy it.
I've never actually interviewed anybody, so let's hope that this
I'm really glad to be the first. Be gentle with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Right. Okay. Are you recording? Hi everybody. So I'm here with Tony Vino after his gig at SAFFRON Warden. He was hilarious. So I'm very excited to be working with him for my comedy nights. And I'm just going to interview him, ask him a few questions, and get like a feel for what he's about and stuff like that. So yeah. So what do you think? Do you think people are born funny or they learn it?
Oh, it's a good question. Are people born funny? I mean, babies are funny, so maybe they start off looking funny. Yeah. But I would say there's. It's a bit of nature nurture. I think you've got to have a sort of funny bone, but it is a very precise art as well. So, and there are funny people that I've known that are not able to translate it when on stage. But then there are people I've met who are hilarious when you talk to them, but they just don't have that kind of way of kind of doing it to a general audience. So. It's and then loads of people find different things funny as well. Yeah, so it's a difficult one, really.
That's true. So saying that. How do you cater to like the audience in terms of, because everyone's so different in their humour? How do you like choose the right material, as it were?
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of you do sort of look at the audience a bit, see the age and demographic. So I have kind of jokes that kind of maybe would relate to this crowd or that crowd. But then, as much as possible, I kind of do stuff that is as accessible as well. So everybody's got family, or everybody's got certain experiences that you can kind of hopefully hook onto. And maybe you just play the numbers game. Maybe if you lose a few people at one bit, hopefully you'll get them back at another bit. Yeah. And then get away with it.
Yeah. So then, how do you deal with situations where you thought it was going to be funny and then nobody laughs and it's just like, oh.
Yeah, it's a really. Thanks.
You enjoy the show. Though, so it's all right.
All my childhood trauma coming through here. It is a challenge because you've got to assess whether you reference it or not. So sometimes the best way is just to kind of acknowledge if something doesn't hit, go, okay, you didn't like that one, or nice, I don't know, look at this staring competition, or whatever's going on, and then that's fine. But then if you do it too many times, reference it, then people start to go, oh yeah, he's, they might think that you're feeling nervous. And the main thing about comedy is to not look or appear nervous, because then that makes the audience feel nervous. So it's a hard one to deal with. And my kind of thing is reference it once or twice if it happens, but most of the time just move on and hope they didn't notice.
Yeah. How do you get over those nerves then, though? When you go on, do you feel those butterflies and?
Massively, yeah. Nerves is a really big thing for me. I'm actually quite a nervous person. This is the worst job for me. It really doesn't. I've already got a sort of quite a vulnerable disposition, and then having to every night build up this kind of thing where please will you like me, please will you like me. It's a weird, I don't know, I genuinely don't know what the motivation is to become a comedian, because why do I have to travel around and impress strangers? There's something that's gone wrong in my life somewhere. But basically, with nerves, I've kind of learned to quell them, and then and I kind of do this thing where I let the nerves come and then pass through. Yeah. It's like almost like a sort of Zen moment. You get the nerves come and then feel them and then just channel them out. And hopefully there's enough. Yeah, it's like I think about energy, because comedy's a lot about energy. Mm-hmm. And so you look at someone like Lee Evans, he's a real master of channeling energy and channeling nerves, and it is about that really. So you kind of try and use it to your advantage.
That's true. Wow, thank you. What else do I have for you? So how did you get into the funny business?
Are you looking for a job?
Yeah.
Well, there's loads of different kind of avenues in. There's things like now, a lot of people are running like stand-up comedy courses, and then there's open spot nights where people try things like that, and then sometimes you get spotted, and then you can get into a sort of paid night, and then eventually get enough paid gigs that you can then leave the day job, whatever that is. And it around, I started it about in 2005, and I got a friend started a comedy night, and he got me to compare it, and that kind of gave me monthly shows that I could definitely do, and then did others, and then eventually it was that kind of route. Eventually get paid enough to then leave, which was a real strange moment, because then you're kind of off during the day, and that's a lot of watching loose women really, when you're meant to be writing. But,
So what would you say is your advice to budding comedians?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's I'd say the main thing is check out if it's something you want to do. It's one of those things, I'd say, for a lot of people, do try out comedy, because it's one of those things that is quite a personal advancement thing. It's good for people's bucket list, and I'd say you've got to do a good 30 hours on stage before you find your voice anyway. And if you're doing a show for the first time, the big mistake people do is they get all their mates along, and you're invariably rubbish, right? Wait till you've done about 10, then invite them along, because you're so mortified if you bring everyone on, your family and everybody to this first show, and then it goes terribly wrong, and then you're embarrassed and you never want to do it again. So just start quietly, start kind of invisibly, and then tell nobody, and then just do it, and then if you like it, do a bit more.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think the funny thing though is that if your family do come and they were like, you were good, you were
really good,
and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but don't give it your day.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you keep it clean?
Oh, interesting. It's a good question. Invariably, various shows like tonight, you had some young people as young as sort of 14 and some really old people that were around during the Boer War. I think so. It's like we've had quite a spectrum. So I think it's part of that inclusivity for me, because I think if you're not clean or you swear loads, then you kind of like, you can have a certain number of people you can do a show for, but I think keeping it clean makes it more inclusive. Tonight was because they were like, you clean, aren't you? I said, yes, it's that. And I said, what do you mean by clean? They said, just no swearing, no rude stuff, comedy like it used to be, right? But just not racist. Like how comedy was. I was like, right, okay, I'll see what I can do.
So what's your most embarrassing moment that you're happy to share?
Wow. Embarrassing moment. I did actually. I've not shared this before. This is quite therapeutic. I did actually soil myself before I went on stage once, and it wasn't because I was just really ill. I had diarrhea, and I think I was a bit nervous. I came on stage, and when you just like, I was just, and the compere was on, and they said, all right, the next act, and I just at this moment went, just stretched, and it was like, oh no. and I couldn't do anything, and so I had to do it with like just dribbling down my leg, and I was glad I wasn't performing in shorts. That's all I can say that day. And it was quite nice actually, because then when it starts off nice and warm, it's quite comforting. And then I knew something that the audience didn't know. And so I was kind of like thinking, maybe I should make this a theme of my acts, but no, that was the one time.
No.
But yeah, that's really helped me. Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed conducting the interview. You can catch Tony Vino on the 26th and 27th of October at Comedy Pit Stop event, alongside Mark Palmer from South Africa, Eddie Caddy from the UK, and Jeff Allen from the USA. It's going to be really good. Well, anyway, make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow, where we'll be posting more things. All right then, bye.
group shot. Sorry, guys. Maybe it's all right. Maybe just go a bit further back and have a chat. Is that all right? Because we're just doing like a, what I'm saying is Michael McIntyre doesn't get this from me. He doesn't come to Saffron Walden. I know, yeah. He doesn't come to Saffron Walden, so that's absolutely fine. Yeah. Slam. That's 2 slams today for you.